Have you ever felt like love is just a game? Like someone you care about is playing with your heartstrings, leaving you confused and heartbroken? If so, you're not alone. Many of us have found ourselves in situations where the lines between love and manipulation blur, making it hard to distinguish genuine feelings from mere games. Today we are exploring the field of love relationships closely and looking at 10 practical techniques to fool anybody who could be controlling your feelings. Whether your experience is with loss, uncertainty, or frustration, this whole strategy will help you to restore, control, and boldly traverse the emotional maze. If you found this beneficial before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up this video. You would not want to miss any of this. It may possibly change your love life forever. Let us now straightforwardly address our first point. 1. Understand the difference between love and games. Imagine yourself sitting across from someone you have recently started seeing. You meet their eyes and for a moment you feel a spark, a definite connection, but reality hits later. You witness how casual they are in flirting with other individuals in the room, laughing as if your time with them means nothing. At that moment you start to wonder, is this love or really a game? Let me share a story may be pertinent to you. Imagine Jake, a young man totally in love with the beautiful woman with intriguing personality, Sarah. Enthralled by Sarah's friendliness and humor, Jake assumed she was the one, but as their relationship grew, he started to see something strange. One minute Sarah would show him sensitivity, then she would leave him on read for hours just to come back as if nothing had happened. Trapped in a swirl of emotions, Jake questioned if Sarah really loved him or whether he was just another tool in her hand. He would sometimes find himself remembering the early years, when everything seemed so perfect. But now, instead of excitement, anxiety and fear took center stage. This tragedy reminds us rather powerfully, we must be clear about the distinctions between real love and emotional manipulation. Games usually rely on uncertainty and power dynamics. Love is about mutual respect and sensitivity. When you go back on your own experiences, think of times when you felt especially loved versus times when you felt like a pawn in someone else's game. Knowing this helps you prevent unnecessary agony down road. 2. Build emotional resilience to handle manipulation. Emotional resilience is like building a barricade around your heart to ward against negativity and manipulation. Consider Mia, whose relationship with David used to be stormy. He captivated her with pleasant words, yet every time she expressed her feelings he became cold. Mia felt as if her feelings were on a roller coaster, moving from pleasure to despair with every touch. She decided one day she had enough, but after yet another confusing meeting, she realized that her joy shouldn't depend on the random behavior of another individual. Mia then behaved to help her arrange her thoughts and feelings. She began to maintain a notebook in which she entered them. She learned mindfulness and meditation to enable her to ground herself in stressful conditions. Every day she became more strong and confident. Taking back your emotional stability would feel rather powerful. As you examine your personal connections, consider how emotional resilience may help you to overcome challenges. Remember times when someone's behavior made you feel overburdened? Imagine you had that inner power back then. Resilience is the choice to decide to go beyond control and protect your heart while still enabling real love. 3. Identify her true intentions before getting involved. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant connection only to later wonder if they were behaving honestly? Alex went through that after meeting Rachel. She appeared interested in his life, clever and funny. As he came to know her, however, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Rachel would often relate stories about her ex-boyfriend that unsettled Alex, though friendly. There were signs she may not be ready for a permanent relationship. Alex began to ask himself, was he only a rebound for her? Alex decided to pay attentively in order to try to dispel his doubts. Rachel would flirt with other men even when they were together. At such situations, Alex realized he had to protect his heart. He moved back and observed Rachel's actions free from judgment, instead of investigating the relationship any further. This story stresses a very important lesson. Before you dedicate your heart to a relationship, first of all, spend some time finding the real objectives of the other person. Are they looking for anything important? Or are they simply enjoying the hunt's thrill? Think back on your own life. Think back to the last time you were unclear about someone's motives. You noted what signs? Early awareness of these inclinations allows you to avoid unnecessary pain and encourage partnerships that really suit your requirements. 4. Avoid getting attached to mixed signals. When someone sent you contradicting messages, have you ever found yourself confused and unsure? Let me now meet Lisa, a woman in such a conundrum. She had been dating Mark, a kind guy initially looked to be perfect. They would go out for drinks, have intimate conversations, and even flirt as if tomorrow never existed. Then Mark would detach himself, leaving Lisa wondering what had happened just as quickly as the marriage started. One minute he would send her pleasant comments, then become silent for many days. Lisa prayed for a message never delivered while feverishly reading her phone. Every time Mark came back, she was delighted. Then, once again, she was let down as he disappeared. As this emotional roller coaster kept on, Lisa started to question her own worth. Am I behaving in error? She asked. Is he really an interest in me or only playing games? Lisa felt she had to change her approach as the uncertainty became unbearable. Lisa turned back and focused on her own ideas, and needed to avoid becoming attached to contradicting signals. She considered her past relationships and saw a pattern of clinging on to people unfit for a commitment. Knowing her own tendencies, she helped herself to establish healthier limitations. Think now about your personal experiences. Have you ever stayed close to someone even if you have no idea about their feelings? Remember such days. From them, what caught your attention? Realizing confused signals and choosing not to become emotionally entangled can help you preserve your heart from unnecessary misery and grief. 5. Invest in yourself and develop inner strength. Emotional freedom and inner strength have their foundation in self-investment. Picture Tom, a young man giving his marriage to Emma his all. Love, he thought, was always supporting her and putting his own needs and wishes second importance. But Tom found he was confused and aimless when circumstances changed and Emma chose to live alone. Tom was left with nothing but his dashed dreams. When the world he had built around Emma imploded, Tom began to recognize he had to discover himself rather than wallowing in gloom. He began spending time pursuing his passions: painting, writing, and discovering long-neglected new hobbies. Activities that helped him feel alive and fulfilled made him happy. Following his interests, Tom developed self-worth unconnected to his relationship. This makeover allowed him to get confidence. Soon he started to encounter people who appreciated him for who he was, not just as buddy. Imagine how liberating it would be to invest like Tom did in yourself. Think on the happy activities you participate in as you decide on your own road. Have you set aside hobbies in line with a relationship? Giving your own enjoyment and growth first importance can help you not only grow personally, but also attract better relationships. Love yourself. Then you convince the world you deserve love in return. 6. Refuse to chase, value your own worth. Have you ever wanted to pursue someone who seemed to be not reciprocating your feelings? This is a common sensation. Let me share with you Sarah's story of coming across precisely such conditions. Drawn to Jake, a vibrant man who seemed to light the room with his presence, With Sarah, at first their relationship seemed straightforward. Then, Sarah saw over time that Jake was not putting the same effort. Sarah felt otherwise, but she started chasing Jake, contacting him and arranging dates while he remained distant and showed apathy. She thought, if I just show him how much I care, he'll realize I'm the one. But her mission merely pushed Jake further away rather than closer. Anxious and inadequate, Sarah began to question why she wasn't enough for him. Sarah didn't begin to see the truth until she told a friend. Her friend added, love shouldn't feel like a chase. Driven by this realization, Sarah set out to restore her dignity. She stopped attempting to connect and switched to focus on her own satisfaction. She began socializing, taking up hobbies, and finding herself. Sarah saw change over time. She pulled excellent energy into her life the less she sought. Jake began to realize he missed her. But Sarah had already developed self-respect apart from his approbation. Think back on your own life. Has someone you investigated not appreciated your work? Consider those moments. You clearly show that you are deserving of love and respect. When you stop fleeing and start value appreciating, when you give your own happiness first priority, you create space for the right people to enter your life, those who will appreciate and adore you for exactly who you are. 7. Keep your emotions balanced and grounded. Has the intensity of love ever taken you away and made you feel as if you were on an amazing roller coaster? Let me now present James, a man directly familiar with this. His first encounter with Claire seemed to him like a spark blazing within. James knew he had at last found the one. But as their relationship developed, he began to see how easily he got emotionally erratic. Every moment they spent together seemed exhilarating. Though the highs were exhilarating, even if the lows were horrible. Depressed and anxious, James would go back over their arguments in his brain. His only focus now was on whether Claire would still love him after their conflicts. He started to recognize he was losing his individuality in the process. His emotions were like a pendulum swinging wildly between joy and agony. One day, James was writing about his feelings and had a flash insight. If he wanted to really value love, he knew he had to learn emotional balance. Starting mindfulness and meditation enabled him to observe his emotions without let them control him. James learned that fighting is unavoidable in any relationship. Hence, he stepped back and grounded himself to learn better control of his emotions. Consider right now your personal experiences. Has your actions in a relationship ever followed your emotions? Consider moments when your feelings were intolerable. How differently could you have treated them? Keeping composure and grounded. Emotions allows you to enable yourself to elegantly handle the ups and downs of life. Remember that emotional stability enables you to have a healthier partnership when both sides feel secure and appreciated. 8. Stay focused on what you want, not her approval. Imagine yourself knowing precisely where you are heading on a journey, but instead of gazing forward, you keep glancing at the passenger seat, asking permission from your travel partner. Alex found he constantly sought praise from his girlfriend Mia, though it meant sacrificing his own desires. He would base his decisions on what he thought would please her. Alex first thought that keeping Mia happy would guarantee their own happiness, therefore defining the key to a successful marriage. But he soon found this approach was draining him. He felt confused and disappointed, as if he were experiencing the life of another. Alex needed to have a turning point, a night beneath the stars, where he understood the importance of stressing his genuine goal. Driven to rebuild his identity, Alex started wondering, what do I want? He started following his interests and creating independent ambitions apart from Mia's expectations. He began working out, enrolled in a pottery class, and even offered his time for causes near and dear. Focusing on his own goals, he found fresh delight and confidence. 9. Let go of control, focus on self-improvement. Lily resolved her need for control after a heart-to-heart conversation with a close friend? She turned instead toward her own personal development, started yoga, registered in a culinary course, and set aside time for personal development. She came to trust Mark and the relationship more as she accepted her own path. Think now about your own experiences. Ever tried to manage a relationship out of anxiety? Think back on times when your need for control drove distance. By letting go of the impulse to control and focusing on your own progress, you give room for love to bloom. 10. Walk away from toxic situations without regret. Let's now also talk about the need of realizing when it is necessary to leave dangerous surroundings. Meet Ben, a man who spent years in a relationship that drained him and made him underappreciated. Belittling him, his girlfriend Sarah made him feel little and unworthy. Ben loved her, but he also often wondered about his value. After gathering the confidence he felt he lacked, Ben decided it was time to leave the toxic situation. It was difficult. He carried great weight from sadness and loneliness. But he experienced a release when he had to make the tough choice to go. It was a sobering reminder that sometimes loving oneself requires difficult decisions. Think about those times when your suffering outweighed your happiness. Walking away is a show of strength and self-respect, not of frailty. Remember that you should be in relationships that encourage and empower you, not that which lessens your soul. Now consider your own trip. Have you ever stayed in a relationship that seemed poisonous or demanding? Conclusion. As we close our research of 10 strategies to outwit anybody playing tricks with your emotions, keep in mind that you have the power to design the love life you want. Understanding the differences between love and games, developing emotional resilience, and appreciating yourself will enable you boldly negotiate the complexity of relationships. Turn your focus to your well-being, progress, and happiness, what truly matters. Love should uplift you rather than bring you down. Recover your emotional independence and live with purpose. Having said that, thanks. Until next time.